Welcome to another edition of NetStruc Talks. It's your girl, Sharon Lead, and I am happy to have an amazing guest here today. So what I want to talk about is that, a lot of people think email marketing is not a thing anymore. It's a thing of the past. Well, my guest today is going to talk about how she helps flip the script and transform overlooked pennies into booming profits through email marketing for women-led owned businesses. Stay tuned. Welcome, and it's your girl, Sharon Lead, founder of NetStruc PR and the host for NetStruc Talks. And I have my special guest here today, Kimberly Bass. Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, Sharon, how's it going?
It's going good. Oh, you got just that burbling personality. I love it. I love it. And I love that color on you. It looks amazing. It looks
Thank
amazing.
you.
So I want to talk about, first and foremost, before we get into email marketing, which I know a lot of people want to know about because it's not a thing of the past. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before I do, let me just ask you a question. How does $20 billion sound? Does that sound like an industry that's dead?
No, it doesn't.
Absolutely not. That is what email marketing is supposed to be at by 2027. And for that very reason, I work with small women-led businesses that have been in operation for about 4 to 5 years that are looking for goal-focused email strategies as well as technology expertise in order to scale their business as well as boost their profits.
I love it. I love it. I love it. What's the name of your company?
Deliver Her Marketing.
I love the name. I just love the name. That's why I wanted you to say it. I love the name, Deliver Her Marketing. Like, you're right. Something like email marketing, people say, oh, you know what? It goes into spam. It goes into this. It goes into that. Well, that's what our discussion is going to be about today, because I know definitely it's all about what you do and how your headline is. There's a whole lot of things that what you really have to do in order for it to does not go into spam. But there's also some privacy and security things that I know that you have to do that a lot of people just totally ignore or don't even pay attention to. Am I correct?
That is right. They're out there breaking the rules, habitual rule breakers, and don't even know it.
Girl, breaking the rules. You're going to be in email jail. Like, come on.
Locked up.
Click claim, put the bracelets on. So you mentioned in terms of the type of audience that you work with, right? So one, it is definitely women-led businesses. And, a lot of people are definitely, into that field of working with women-owned businesses. But you also mentioned a specific industry with women-led businesses. Talk to us. Why is it you decided those particular industries?
Yes, the reasons that I chose finance, tech, and wellness is because these are often industries where wellness is pretty female dominant, but tech and finance are not. And that means that there's a little bit of a difficulty talking to women, having that voice to where women are attracted specifically to products and or services. And given that I've worked in all three of those industries for the past 20 years, I understand the technology, I understand the voice, and I understand the compelling content needed to convert those subscribers into customers.
And I love the fact that you have been in that field, all three of them, which is amazing. I tell people when you could check off a lot of the boxes, you definitely prove yourself as a true expert in your industry. So you check off quite a few boxes in that industry. So when you talk about what, let's talk a little bit in terms of, with email marketing, the main thing that a lot of people don't do is pay attention to those privacies or the security measures or anything to that extent. When you deal with a client, is that part of your plan? Is that part of your discussion with them? Do you kind of go through an overall with them in terms of, this is what you're doing wrong? Like, do you do an assessment?
Absolutely. So I do an assessment, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because those who are actually interested in an assessment, I do offer a complimentary assessment as part of ebook that I'm just putting out. It is the ultimate email marketing playbook. And why that's important is because if you're not following the rule guides of can spam, there's a few other regulations, you put yourself at risk for fines. And these fines are per email. They're thousands of dollars per email. So you definitely don't want to put yourself in a position to where you're having to come out of pocket just trying to get some subscribers.
And people take that for granted.
They
They think
do.
that's not real.
It is real. It is
Please tell
definitely
them it's
real.
real. Now, listen, that's never happened to me, so I don't want to make. I want to emphasize that is a real thing. That you really would get fined if you do not go according to the rules and regulations of email marketing. And so, they don't just give you these things with these different platforms that we use. They don't just give you these things just because. There is a reason for it. So I'm glad that you indicated that how important it is, but also what the dollar sign is added to it if they don't go according to it and they get fined.
Yes, and there's not just fines. There are other things. You could risk getting blacklisted, meaning no one would ever get your emails. You would have to get a whole new, I'll start speaking technolese and I'll get excited, but you'll start getting blacklisted. You'll need IPs, domains changed, those types of things. You definitely don't want to get in a position to where your reputation with your emails is damaged.
No, and that's really important. That's crucial because especially business owners, non-for-profit organizations, you name it, you have to have a email system. You have to have the email list and you have to be putting content out. So, me as a publicist, that's one of the things that I talk to my clients about. Like, you have to have an email list. I'm sorry. Like, we can't get all these interviews out and where's it going? What we doing?
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, Sharon, because Constant Contact did a study this year in 2023, and they asked businesses if over the course of 12 months, there was one area of their marketing that they would like to improve. 30% of B2C organizations said email marketing, and 32% of B2B said email marketing. So that just goes to support your
Mm.
statement and how crucial it is to have email marketing as a digital channel within your offering for digital marketing services.
Yeah, no, it's important. It definitely is important. So let's talk about some of these things that, we want to dive right into it. Now, there's an untapped potential for email marketing. Explain that.
Absolutely. Let me ask you another question. If you were able to earn $42 per $1 spent, is that something that you would be looking to incorporate into your business?
I'm pretty sure I would, but I'm pretty sure the
Exactly.
listeners would
Exactly.
also. Absolutely.
And this is email marketing. It is like the hidden treasure chest that a lot of businesses aren't taking the time to open. It's low cost and it's a high reward strategy.
Mm. So let me ask you this question. When you say low cost, high strategy, high strategy, when someone says, I don't know what to put out, and they just, they go according to what you're saying. Listen, this is low cost. I got to put something out.
Exactly.
The content that they're putting out plays a major part in where it ends. Is that true?
That is a true statement. The content, you can't just go putting stuff out there. You want to be strategic. You want to be intentional. For example, if you're looking to, like this week, I know you're hosting an event. And if anyone is looking to do that, you want to take some steps back, of course, start with the end in mind, get your email strategy together and put out content that drives people toward action for that end of the road you want them to reach. But you also have to speak their language. You have to speak language
Mhm.
that resonates with them. You also have to speak language that makes them want to do what? Click on that call to action.
Yeah, call to action is so key. Call to act, at first, and I'll be honest with you, and I'm learning as I'm talking to you because, when I started doing my emails going out, I would just put things out as inspiration and,
Yeah.
and people really wouldn't know what I do. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until I got really strategic in this, and I'm not a pro. Listen, I am not a pro at this. That's why I'm glad I'm interviewing you. Look, we're offline. We're gonna talk because I feel that I'm doing well. And when I look at my analytics look well, but there's still more work that needs to be done. So, when you talk about tailoring your email content, explain in terms of how should your clients, or how should the listening audience, how should they tailor their content to have someone open up their email?
Good. I'm glad you asked that question as well, because tailoring content is extremely important. You want to make someone feel like you're sitting down knee to knee and having that conversation with them. You want them to feel like they're your BFF, like you're the expert, like you're the guide. And in doing so, you can use customization features like just dropping a name in the subject line. Did you know that that could result in a 29% higher open rate? Because not only do people like to hear their name, they like to see their name as well. And they want to know what is this? So it definitely boosts engagement and customer loyalty.
So I know that there are some email marketing platforms that does not provide that, where, because that definitely is a key point in terms of, you see your name, you're being addressed to your name. That's the same way in terms of with, when you pitch into the media. Like if I'm pitching to a journalist, they want to see their name. I don't want to spell their name wrong. I want to have the name correct. I want to have a name. And that also plays a part in with email marketing. So when people do that, or if they have, that notion, but, some people just get emails and don't get names.
Right.
Like, what would you do in that situation?
Yeah, great point, Sharon. And let me tell you that goes all the way back to before you even get to putting that email together. When you're looking at strategy, you also want to look at what is it that I want the experience for my client to be. If you know that personalization is one of those things, you want to pick an email provider which gives you that option, that service. And it's definitely something that all platforms don't provide. One of the platforms I like to recommend is Constant Contact. I'm actually a certified partner with them, but they're very friendly for beginners, and they give those things such as personalization and automation, which is a tool that allows you to save time.
No, that's great. That's great. So you just mentioned something else that I wanted to talk about. You recommend Constant Contact because you are affiliate with them. What is the highlight of someone utilizing Constant Contact? Because I know I get a lot. People, pitch me that, like, you got other people that's creating their own, email marketing. Constant Contact has been around for a very long time.
Right.
What are some of the benefits of using Constant Contact?
Working with the businesses that I do, I recognize that small businesses looking to scale and boost their revenue, they often struggle with email marketing technology. And what I'm really passionate about is simplifying this digital marketing channel. And in doing so, I often recommend Constant Contact. The main reason is because if you have trouble, guess what you can do? Pick up the phone and call them. They're going to answer and they're going to walk you through. And that is something that a lot of us don't really think about, the benefit. It is the matter of getting on the phone in 5 minutes, having an issue resolved versus spending 2-3 hours trying to self-learn and figure out what it is. That is the main reason I recommend Constant Contact. Outside of the fact that they have a user interface that is really friendly, as well as they'll give you the step-by-step videos and the 1, 2, 3s. The videos are short, 30-45 seconds. You're able to get in there not knowing much, but able to produce something that's revenue generating.
That's great information. Thank you so much. When you talk about building relationships, and when you think about email marketing, you're like, I'm sending an email out. How am I building a relationship? Like, I can understand having the conversation, you're building a relationship, you're sending a DM or something to that extent. How do you build a relationship through email marketing?
Can I tell you a secret, Sharon?
I'm all ears.
Let me tell you a secret. Email marketing is one of the most unthought of places that you can create a genuine connection. Think about it. With Facebook, with Instagram, the algorithms are changing on a constant basis. Email, not so much. And it's a channel that you own. You get to decide. You can send out exclusive content. You can send out insider tips. You can tell personal stories of your own. You can also share testimonial client success. Matter of fact, you send out an email that has client wins. What do you think that does? That again builds trust, it builds loyalty, and it turns customers into advocates for your brand.
I love that. I love that. I just, because, when you think about it, building relationships, I talk about networking, go out there,
Yeah.
create relationships, you're not selling, you know, talk about why is it's not appropriate, and I don't want to say appropriate, maybe that might be the wrong term of words, but it's not good practice to sell on your email marketing. I mean, unless you get that call, or unless you get that call to action, they do that call to action. So what is the con in selling in your email marketing?
Gotcha. I'm gonna have to agree with you a little bit on that one, Sharon. Email marketing is definitely for selling. It's definitely for selling, but you have to think about it. Think about that begging friend that only comes around when they want something. You don't hear from them when you're down. You don't hear from them. They don't come in and just check on you. They don't tell you happy birthday. They don't mention happy anniversary. You can do all of that through email, and at the same time be top of mind, and at the same time raise your hand to say, hey, I have this amazing service you should get. Hey, I have this wonderful product you should purchase. There's just a way of going about doing it. You want to make sure that you have a really good balance of emails that are nurturing and also emails that are promotional, where you're trying to sell something and prompt a transaction.
Right. And so I guess I wanted to say is that, don't just go in there and say, hey, buy my product.
Right, exactly. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Buy my product. You didn't have no interaction with me in like 6 months, and then you just come in here, buy my product, and that's what I think, what I was trying to get at in terms of, that's the bad practice.
Right.
Start, build the relationship, let people see you on a constant basis. And, creating email marketing, it is a lot of work. Because you got to put time into it. You got to understand, what am I going to do this week? What am I going to put? Are you going to do it every day? With my email marketing, I tried to keep up doing 3 times a week. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to do 3 times a week. I have to say the most consistent that I have with my email marketing is my PR Tipsy Tuesdays.
Yes.
And now I'm starting up with my blog, with my articles, so that's Mondays. And I want to keep up because I just have so many client wins. It's just a matter of the time to put in. What do you recommend for those to, make sure that they can keep their schedule weekly? Because do you recommend they should do weekly? Do you recommend monthly, bi-monthly? Like, how often should someone be putting out their emails to their lists?
Another great question, Sharon. I would recommend at the very minimum, at least once a month, at the very minimum. And after that, it just depends on your audience. And one thing I would recommend is don't be afraid to ask. When you have someone join your mailing list, ask them, how often do you want to hear from me? And it could be that you have somewhat of a preference center. For a preference center, I mean, when bringing up the legal aspect, you must have permission to be able to come into someone's email box. And when you get that permission, ask them, do you want to hear from me weekly? Do you want to hear from me daily? Not that you're going to do that, but just take a pulse from your audience to get a really good gauge, because other than that, you'll really be playing a guessing game.
And the one thing as a publicist, I hate when people do guessing games. Because people think that, oh, let me just pitch to this one client, to this one media platform. It's like, have you even research that platform? So you got to do your research or do your polling, as you mentioned, with your email list to see, hey, how often do you want to hear from me? And like you said, you don't necessarily have to do it, but it all depends on the type of content.
Yes.
That what you put out with them. So that's key. That's really key. Is there any type of jewels that you want to drop with us before we, close out with our conversation today?
Yes, I definitely want to remind everyone, Email marketing is the marketing glue. When you combine it with social media, when you combine it with your content marketing and all other strategies, you have a really comprehensive approach. And it's necessary if you want to be heard by your audience, if you want to be seen by your audience, and also create that strong online presence. And if you're not using things like segmentation, personalization, you know what you're doing, Sharon? You're using a flip phone. So in the day of
Mm.
iPhone 15, you're using a flipping flip phone. Email marketing has changed. It is not, I know when my grandmother first found out about email, her question was, how do you put a stamp on it? We're way past that. We are way past that. It is definitely, if you are not implementing email marketing in your business, you're definitely missing out. And to help with that, I am offering the ultimate email marketing playbook. It is free to your audience and anyone that's interested in upping their email marketing game. You can check it out on my website, IamKimberlyBass.com. You'll see join the email list and it'll take you right to the playbook. This playbook has 12 steps that if you implement 1, 6, or all 12 of them, you will have your first successful or next successful email campaign.
How can you gauge a successful email campaign?
You know what? You just come with all the good questions. The good to gauge the success of an email campaign starts with what are your goals? What was the goal for this particular email campaign and how can you measure against it? So, for example, if my goal is to, I'm hosting an event, my goal was to have 30 people at this event, my goal was to accumulate maybe $20,000 from this event. You're able to go through the emails and look at the content. How did it resonate? Because you'll see your click rate will be high. You will be
Mm.
able to look at your conversion rate. Someone saw my email, they clicked, they registered, and they signed up for my program. So you're able to track the journey that your customers make. So whatever objective and whatever journey you put in place for your customers, that allows you to know what metrics to use to determine the success of your email marketing campaign.
I love it. I love it. Kimberly, thank you so much. Everybody, check out her website. She has some great nuggets that she's going to get. And she has this free playbook. Like, I love when people give free stuff away. Yay. Um, this is a opportunity that a lot of people, a lot of businesses fall short on.
Yeah.
Email marketing, in my industry, a lot of people fall short on utilizing the media. Like
Right.
these are tools to help in building out your business, your brand exposure. And a lot of people, like I said, they fall short to that. Um, last thing that I want to, talk about email marketing as part of your marketing plan. Why is that important and how can you integrate that? Somebody that doesn't have an email list, like how, and I talk about that also, but I want to hear your perspective of, how do you integrate that into your marketing plan? Because it's important. You definitely need to have that.
It is important. And I say that how you implement it into your marketing plan is number one, making the decision you're going to make email marketing a priority. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to have the consistency. You're not going to put together the strategy. You're not going to put forth the energy to put out that compelling content. But once you make that decision, then after that, it's either you decide you're going to self-learn and start learning what it is that you need to learn about email marketing. There's stuff out there, or you can come to someone like me who's immersed in the industry and who knows and can help you sit down and identify the blind spots, the gaps, so that you're able to get that email strategy together sooner than later, because it's really easier than people think.
You say easy, but we make it look easy. We make
I
it
know,
look
I know,
easy.
I know.
And that's all great. But, there is do it yourselves. I get that. People sometimes you don't have the coins. But what I do recommend is for people to reach out to experts like you
Yes,
to at least learn how to do it yourself. Like
absolutely.
that's key. Like let's stop the guessing game
Yes.
in our businesses. if you can't afford to like hire somebody to actually do the work, then at least hire someone to show you how to do it the correct way.
Yeah.
And Kimberly here is the expert in that email marketing. I'm so glad we had this conversation today, because this is just part of the fabric of how to build out your brand exposure. And that's all what NetStruc Talks does. It is helping you build out your brand exposure by talking with experts who understand the fabric, who understand the woes and the trials and tribulations of what an entrepreneur does. That's why they're the experts. That's why that's their wheelhouse. So, email marketing, Kimberly Bass, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. All of her contact information will be in the body of the email of the email, and also on the page. So make sure that you click on it. Make sure you get that free playbook. And I will see you at the next NetStruc Talks. Take care, everyone.